Okay, hi everybody. I'm back to Nalbinding the sock I started last time. And last time all I got done was the beginning of the chain. And in that video I went over how I had learned from somebody about how to measure for socks. You take a string and you measure the top part of your ankle for this, how wide you want the sock to be. And you make a chain to that length, so I still need to add a little bit more here. And then the other part is to figure out how long to make the sock. Is you take another measure of the size of your fist, and I measured this to my son's foot size, so his is a bit longer than mine. So apparently if I make it that long, it will fit his feet perfectly, or close enough. So we'll see if this works. I don't know, but it's probably true. There's all sorts of little things that we don't know about how easy it is to make some things. Right, so I'm using the really rough hand spun that I've been spinning on my Quebec Production wheel. And after I spun it, I dyed it with some lichen, with some Parmelia lichen. And it's lumpy, but the nice thing about hand spun is, and then null binding is when you pull off little lengths, if there's some really twisty bits, you can untwist it a bit before you start working it in, so it really does smooth out the hand spun that way. And you don't have to worry about the lumps so much. So I'm just going to pull off another length of about 3 or 4 arm lengths. Now there's a very thin spot, so I think I'll break this here. And join this to the last part that I've made. Sometimes I use the null binding needle for this, and sometimes I use a little darning needle, depending on how thick the wool is. So I'm using a Russian join technique, if you're not familiar with that, as I thread the needle through 3 or 4 times at the end, and then feed it through the eye of the needle. And I put the beginning of the new thread through there, through the loop. And pull this through. And then the same thing at the other end. And I've got a join that's not going to come apart. Trim these bits off. And accordion fold this about 3 or 4 times to shorten the length that I have to pull through at a time, because it makes the null binding a lot faster if you do it this way. You're not putting big long lengths for every stitch. Okay, and I pick up where I left off. So I was having 2 threads over my thumb, so I'll put that back there, and the new loop that's going to be formed, and then I pick up one from my thumb, one from behind, turn the needle and pull this through. And this is a bit difficult sometimes because I have spun such lumpy wool. That's because on the Quebec Production wheel my spinning technique isn't perfected yet. So I get very irregular wool yarn right now. I haven't practiced on it enough. But that's okay, this will have a very homespun look and still be very warm and toasty, which is what we want for the cold weather up in the mountains here. I better check what the size of this is. Okay, a few more stitches and I'm actually going to join it at about here because this first part, the chain isn't fully formed. So I'm going to join it about there, so I got a ways to go still. Maybe about another 10 stitches perhaps. So to stitch the chain, I'll just repeat the process for a few stitches. I've got 2 loops on my needle, on my thumb. I pick up the last one, the earliest one, and I put that through the needle. I pick up 1 loop from behind. I turn the needle counterclockwise and come back through my thumb, and this thread that's here forms the new stitch. So that's a new stitch. So I pick up the old stitch that's on my thumb, pick up from 1 loop from behind my thumb, turn the needle, and come back like this, and form a new stitch on my thumb. And I'm going to check the size now. Okay, that looks about right. And check it to the, where's the one I made already? Here it is. Okay. Join it at that point there. Mark it with that for a second. Pick this up. Now it gets a bit tricky here. They've got to make sure that this goes around properly, or you can get a bit of a Mobius join. Okay. So I'm picking up 1 stitch from, I'm going to do 2 stitches from the previous row, pick up 1 off my thumb, 1 from behind, and come back through. Squeaky door as somebody goes in and out. Okay, so 1 from the previous row, One from my thumb, one from behind, and through. From there, one from the previous row, one from the thumb, and one from behind my thumb, and back through. I think I might have picked up 2 stitches, because the other way to do it is you can pick up a new stitch, an old stitch, one from the thumb, one from behind. Hello, kitty. You've come to work with me, have you? Come to visit? Okay, you're gonna you're gonna sit in the lap while I'm nail binding, aren't you? Well, that's very nice of you. Yeah, okay. We have company. And he's even purring. Oh, sweetie. Hey, Spencer. I think if you're making socks, it's probably better to pick up 2 stitches just to make them stronger, because then you're picking up, it makes the sock thicker. And for this, for this first one, I'm also using a Mammen stitch, but I think I'm going to switch to finish 1 plus 2, 2 plus 1 to make the sock thicker and goes faster. Wow. Hey, kitty. No nails, please. No nails. Oh. new stitch and old stitch, one from my thumb, one from behind my thumb, twist and pull it through. Spencer, don't dig your nails into me, kitty. No, I don't like that. Oh, all right. Okay, it's time to join a new piece of yarn onto this again. Oh, there's a really fat part. Oh, it's so strong. My goodness, I really spun some thick wool here. Oh. Oh, did I disturb you? Okay, sorry, cat. Oh, I should probably use a thin needle and not the big one. Okay, I'm putting back the 2 loops onto my thumb, and I pick up one new loop, one old loop, one off my thumb and one from behind. Turn it and pull it all through. Well, maybe I pull it all through. The wool is really thick. Excuse me. I'm going to switch to a bigger needle because the eye on this one really isn't quite big enough for this lumpy wool. Might not even be in this one. No, it'll be fine. I really did make homespun. This is where I joined the yarn together before. It looks a bit messy to pick up, but okay, that and that. Oops. Almost forgot to pick that second stitch up. Sometimes you get confused about which is the stitch to pick up. And if you pull on this, this is the one that tightens, so this is the newest stitch. So you want to pick up the older one, which is that. And the one from behind your thumb. And turn and come back. And sometimes you pick up the wrong one and you notice it's several stitches on down. I don't bother going back to try and fix it usually. It all kind of blends in most of the time. Unless you're really trying to make a real perfect piece, then I suppose you have to pull it all out and repick and redo, but most of the time I just let it go. It's made by hand and life is not perfect, so. Okay, I'm going to stop this video here, and I'm going to continue on until I get to the length of sock that I want it to be, of the calf part, and then I'll make another video of showing how to make the chain and continuing on from the heel. So happy stitching, and I hope that this works for you and you like nail binding, and let me know if you've got any questions. Thanks for watching.